Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, Albuquerque, New Mexico, the rest of the world. Roy Lucero along with Michael Carlyle of 610 Sports Animal. This is Red Menace TV. We're here today. Lots of exciting stuff going on.
You know, you could have just started with the world and ended it there. That would have encompassed everything you said before that.
Yeah, but I want to give everyone their props. We could have break it down by like...
We didn't go by countries or time zones.
We could have gone counties
hemispheres.
And maybe parts of the city.
Yeah,
you know,
solar
hey,
systems.
Northeast Heights, Sanjo, Martinez Town, Old Town. We could do that too.
We could.
We could.
It would take up most of the show.
We got some good stuff going on today. We have some stuff that's kind of moving out, and I think that's Lobo
Rusty?
football. Oh, he's moving out?
That's what I'm asking, is he?
Well, I said good stuff.
Oh.
I mean, you tell me.
Yeah.
I guess that would be your personal taste. Anyway, Kyle, how do I pronounce it?
Beaterwolf.
Beaterwolf of the Howl here is going to talk about the new student section, which is the old student section, but they're getting like re-excited, re-energized, getting some things. We want to talk, see if we can get more students involved in that as Lobo Nation's growing. You were at the game last night as the Lobos beat Omaha.
Oh, yeah.
Omaha. Did they have that? Did they have that like maybe over the sound system?
No.
Omaha, no?
No, but
Nobody remembers that anymore?
Peyton Manning has totally ruined Omaha for everybody.
Yeah,
for sure.
it's blowing everything. Anyway,
Yeah.
they crushed them. That's the second crushing that the Lobos have administered. This time it was against a D1 team, but your first view of the Lobo basketball team live, actually in game situation, what'd you think?
Yeah, first we have the BYU exhibition and the Northern New Mexico game. I was off with football, but yeah, very exciting, especially the second half when more shots started falling. They're going to be a lot of fun to watch. They're going to be ups and downs though. But when everything's going well, they're going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they do on the road on Friday down in Las Cruces against New Mexico State.
Now, you said that they announced 9,000 fans showed up to the game. And I was talking with Kyle earlier, and he said probably around 400 to 500 students.
The student section was pretty full.
Okay, so that's starting to, you know, and I think every fan that left, and I don't care which game it was, BYU, the New Mexico JC, or this game.
Yeah.
I think every fan that went and watched kind of got that infection, that Lobo mania, because it's a fun team to watch. I mean, win or lose, they're exciting to watch.
Yeah, well, and you can't help but feel it. They're full of energy. They're running up and down the court, both ends of the court. It is infectious for sure.
And I think the more fans that get that and get exposed to Lobo basketball, and as they start playing better teams, New Mexico State's a good team. I mean, they're better than probably Omaha and New Mexico JC, and well, they're not better than BYU, but they're a good team. As they go on the road, as they get some wins, people start seeing this team not only in the pit, but also on television. They're going to be interested in going out and seeing them, and I think once you see them, you're going to get hooked. I just think that there's that thing. I mean, you know, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back with Kyle, but I just want to ask you one thought. Who knew you could coach Effort?
Who knew?
Let's take a quick break. We'll be back.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, #life change will occur.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network. Garden Sort's Team Sales is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Get into the game. Garden Schwartz Team Sales features fine products and apparel from Wilson, Schutt Sports, Speedline, and Russell Athletics. We offer custom embroidery and screen printing services for all of your school or club needs, from team uniforms to school letter jackets. Specializing in all sports and serving all communities, from big schools to small schools, from up north to down south, or all points in between. Garden Schwartz Team Sales. For great prices, friendly staff, and quality products, call Garden Schwartz Team Sales today at 1-800-880-7767. That's 1-800-880-7767. Since 1939, Garden Schwartz Team Sales is a proud supporter of New Mexico youth athletics.
The Barley Room, a proud sponsor of ProView Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Hey, welcome back to Red Menace TV here on ProView Networks. And I just recently found out Facebook Live.
Wow.
Where have you been? See,
Where have I been? How many decades?
a little less time hating, a little more time learning, and you could be a much more well-rounded individual.
I got no hate in my heart.
You've got nothing but hate in your
No,
heart.
I got no hate in my heart.
If it weren't for hate, you would be heartless.
Hey, we want to introduce our special guest, Kyle Betterwolf.
Beaterwolf.
Beaterwolf.
There you go.
It ain't that hard, dude.
For me, it is, because, well, first of all, you're a UNM student.
Yes.
You're one of the ringleaders of the new student section, the Howl. Your name is Beaterwolf. And the Lobos, obviously Wolves. And I thought, when I first heard the name, I thought, okay, that's like your Twitter handle.
Yeah.
Did you get that a lot?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have a lot of friends that call me Kyle Beater Lobo. So.
Okay, that'll work. So you said it's German?
Yeah.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself personally, and then we want to talk about the Howl. Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually am a graduate student at UNM. I graduated with my undergrad degree in May, and I've always been a really huge fan of Lobo basketball. Always had a lot of ties to the team. I mean, my family's had season tickets since I was born, basically. So I really grew up around the pit and grew up around Lobo basketball. So when I was an undergrad, I really took that full-fledged, and I was at all of the games and got involved in some of the student section organizations. But I think that all of us and everyone around can admit that the student section has really declined the last couple of years. So there was a couple of us that really that kind of took initiative on ourselves and really wanted to get it back to where it was. We saw an opportunity with Coach Weir coming in and a lot of new players and a new era of Lobo basketball come in, and we said, well, why can't we be the same? Let's be a new era as well.
I know Coach Weir has reached out to the students to encourage more participation for them. How's that affected you guys' efforts to get more guys out to the game?
It's really, really nice having a head coach of such a historic team being so bought into the student section, and it's not even really just the student section, it's being bought into the entire university. I mean, this guy is showing up to Greek meetings, he's showing up to faculty senate meetings, he's trying to make a presence at the university because he understands what the university community means to this team and how us, the entire community, can push that team forward.
And Kyle, earlier this year, before the season started, of course, everyone knows about the Lobo Howl. You've been here your whole life,
Yes.
so you knew about the Lobo Howl as well. Obviously, this year they didn't do the Lobo Howl, but they did bring the team to do a scrimmage there at Johnson. What did that mean to you guys? I mean, what should that signify for the student body? I mean, that was kind of Coach Weir reaching out. What was that like for you guys? And then obviously not having a Howl.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that, I mean, that was the first step of really bridging the gap between what had been the basketball team kind of getting pushed out and the university. I mean, they went as far as to come, 2 miles north on University and come to the main campus. And the entire time it was talking about accessibility for students and for faculty and things like that. But I mean, one of the things that they did with the practice game at Johnson, which I think didn't really get a lot of press coverage, but they teamed up with a student organization called Lobothon that Coach Weir donated $1 for every single student that showed up at that game to this organization that raises money for UNM Children's Hospital. I mean, like there's a prime example of him taking his first step forward to bridge that community.
What about the players? I mean, are they started to kind of buy into what you guys are trying to do? And I mean, in the past, players have kind of been a part of that. I mean, I remember back Daniel Ferris, and they would chant his name, and he'd go. And I mean, you got a couple of guys on this team that are pretty excitable.
Oh, yeah.
And what do you see with the players?
Yeah,
now?
It's been a lot of fun just because, I mean, I guess first of all, it's a little bit tough just because we do have such a new team. I mean, I've been around for years now, and I'm still looking up the names and saying, oh wait, who's number 13? Who's number 1? But I think that automatically you can tell a difference between the buy-in of the players as well into the community. I mean, you see players coming up to the student section before and after the game and coming and telling us thank you and asking us to be there again. And I think that, I don't know if that's a trickle-down effect from Coach Weir, but you can totally tell that our student athletes are buying into the student part.
And the students are buying in. There was a huge contingent in the student section for the Omaha game. That was the first game I'd been to. And I know there was a good crowd as well for the first game of the season. But it's not where you guys want to be. So what are you trying to do exactly to encourage more students to come out for these games?
Yeah. And I mean, where we want to be is that so many students show up that we have to turn students away, unfortunately. Right. But I think that where we are now is a good spot going forward. I mean, the last 2 games, we probably had more students there than most games last year. But we are taking a lot of different initiatives going forward. I mean, we've been launched for about a week now, and we have almost 300 students signing up for our listserv, and that it gives us access to be able to text them and say, hey, don't forget about the game tonight, different things like that. Cool. But one thing that we're really pushing is just going to be the word of mouth. From student to student. I mean, when people are having such a great experience at these games, they can go to their social media, they can go to all of these different mediums to kind of recruit their friends to come around. It's been tough the last couple of years, and the student section experience is so much different than what it was years prior. But I think that creating that experience is going to just create that word of mouth, and then more students will come to support their fellow students and to hang out with their friends.
So if you're a student right now and maybe you're not involved or you don't know anything about it, tell a little bit what they need to do or how they can get involved or what happens on game day.
Yeah,
how does that all go
exactly.
down?
So there in the student section, we're allowed to have 1,000 students come in. So basically, the first 1,000 students that show up get to come in with just the swipe of an ID card. If there is a 7 o'clock game, normally the doors open at 6. But we were able to push forward that the student doors opened at 5:30 to give students an opportunity to come in, kind of visit the pit before a lot of people get in there. We could go down, get our seats, start talking smack to the other team. And fortunately, the last 2 games, we've actually been provided pizza that we're able to feed the students coming in. And I mean, there's just more incentives, things like that. But I think the thing that I'm most excited about is that for students, there's free parking now. There's a lot called the STP lot, which is just north of the pit across Cesar Chavez. And if any student can drive up and show their ID, and they get free parking. I mean, for those of you that aren't students, don't take advantage of that. Save that $10. Right. But I mean, that was one of the biggest accessibility issues that we heard from students is that people, I mean, UNM is expensive, and going to college is expensive, and if you're paying student fees to get these tickets, you shouldn't have to pay for parking as well. And that was just a lot of these initiatives were spearheaded by Coach Weir, and we're very thankful for him. And I think that's just another opportunity to show his buy-in into us.
Eddie Nunez comes in as a new athletic director. How much does he involved with you guys? I mean, you talked about the parking. Now the swiping of the tickets as opposed to having to go get into line and for the disbursements, whether at UNM and that sort of thing. How important has the AD department been in
Yeah, and you know what, that might, I think that's probably a little bit above my head, and I'm sure that he had to have a part in those conversations to make things like that happen, since they were such huge changes. But I'm not completely sure, but everything that I've heard has just been so positive about him and his relationship with his coaches and pushing all of the programs forward.
So social media, we mentioned that. Obviously, that's a big thing. We're all in social media. We're on Facebook Live right now. How can people get in touch with the Howl social media-wise? Yeah,
so I mean, on Twitter, Twitter is probably our biggest medium of communicating with people, and we're at the Howl, TheHowl. I had to think about how to spell that for a second. But we have an Instagram too. We're launching a Facebook page soon. But I think that's one of the biggest ways and the easiest ways to engage with our fellow students. I mean, like you said, everyone has social media, and if you see your buddy retweeting this crazy picture with 600 students going crazy at a game that he was at, I mean, that's going to entice other students and his circle to come.
So I just want to ask you this, because and this is asking you personally, because you've been around forever. How exciting is this team? You've seen them for a couple of weeks now. You've been to a couple of games. What do you think about just the team, the basketball, what's going on the court?
I think, and I mean, you both had mentioned it earlier, but I think the effort of the team has been crazy. I mean, you show up to a game, and if you've been around for a while, you can immediately tell the difference. The speed, the emotion, the passion that the players are showing. I mean, it's a whole new world. So I'm very excited. I mean, it's a whole new team, and you can tell that they're still learning how to play together, especially at speeds of playing Division I teams. But I'm excited, and I mean, you just see how they just keep going, and I think we saw it last night with Omaha. It was just got gassed and was just so tired. And if we can keep that up and keep that pressure and the effort and the consistency and conditioning up, I mean, any team is going to have to come up a mile high, and they're going to be wheezing by the second half, and our team is going to keep going. So I don't know. I'm very excited, and everyone that I've talked to that has been around Lobo basketball is really excited about Coach Weir, about our players, but really just about the environment that he's fostering to his team.
Well, you're too young to remember Lobo Mania when it was like wild and crazy. I barely remember it because I was just a little kid then, but I remember when the pit was a feared place to play, where the coaches were running people off the court. And it was just like, our goal as fans at that time was like, we think we're worth at least 7 to 10 points for the Lobos. That's got to be the attitude that you guys have.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had a very gracious donor donate about 20 fat heads yesterday, and I mean, it's just crazy how you got up there, and Omaha probably missed 4 or 5 free throws yesterday on our side when they didn't miss it on the other side. So we were really excited, and I mean, and just being able to believe that you can help the team and that you're going to push the team's success forward builds a passion in the students themselves.
Well, I love the passion. I know in the past UNM has tried, and it's been more, I guess, from the department trying to run this thing, but it sounds like you've got this thing going where it's student run.
Oh, yeah.
It's a grassroots organization, and I think that's going to bode well for what you guys are doing. It doesn't feel like you're you guys are taking ownership of that.
Yeah, and I think that's the best part, is that we are taking ownership and we are pushing these initiatives forward, but then we're still having the buy-in from Coach Weir and from athletics and saying, all right, we understand how important of an aspect you are to us, so we need to make sure that we make it as easy as it is to get to games or to enjoy games as it is for you. So it is a student initiative, and it is easier for students to buy into students, but none of this wouldn't have happened without the efforts of Coach Weir, so we're very thankful for that.
Awesome. He's Kyle Biederwolf. You can catch him there in the north end zone.
Oh, yeah.
I like that north end zone.
Sure.
You can catch them early. They go in early and razz the opponents. I've never heard that before. Who does that? Have you ever heard of that, Michael?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have as well. But you can catch him there. You can also go on social media on the Twitter at The Howl. You should know how to spell that. I would think so. But just get something close on the search and you'll find it. But we hope to continue growing. We want to continue working with you, Kyle, and trying to get Lobo fans as students that are passionate and want to be part of that. So thanks for being part of today's show.
Yeah, of course.
We will come back with Mika Frankl of CageMinds.com.
Looking for some exhilarating fun? It's at All Out Zone. All Out Zone showcases Nerf Dart tag games from team elimination battles to human versus zombies, pitting two teams against each other in fun, organized chaos with trained referees, music, and a full arsenal of Nerf blasters. You need team parties, birthday parties. We can customize the party to fit your needs. Visit us at the Coronado Mall. Give us a call, 505-444-6964. All Out Zone. Don't forget, every ProView Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewnetworks.com to buy your DVD today. VR Junkies is a virtual reality arcade. We specialize in all things VR, from the simple phone-based headsets to cutting-edge full-body motion systems. Check us out at the Coronado Mall. VR Junkies.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at ProView Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Christy Mae's Restaurant is locally owned and operated with a family-friendly atmosphere. Their array of homemade comfort food is just like your mom's. From homemade chicken pot pie to their famous chicken salad on a croissant, Christy Mae's even offers lunch catering. Christy Mae's Restaurant is located at 1400 San Pedro Drive Northeast. They offer drive-in, carry-out, and catering. Open Monday through Saturday, 10:30 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Duke City Sports Bar. Proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. Catch all the sports action from high school, college, pros, and MMA on one of our 35 HD TVs. Start your night off right with any selection from our delicious menu prepared with fresh, never frozen ingredients. Duke City Sports Bar, Albuquerque's newest sports bar. Located on Eubank and Montgomery, dial 505-433-4020.
I'm Mika Frankl. Welcome to the place where we talk about people getting punched in the face. This is Caged Minds. Got to start off with telling you guys, you can remember our guest from a couple weeks ago, Jamie Henshaw, at King of the Cage Unstoppable 2 this past weekend. She successfully became the King of the Cage atomweight champion with a technical submission win over Melissa Carganis. Technical submission, she choked Melissa to sleep. Now the improbable part, Jamie did so while already having her arm broke during the fight. Jamie, new champion, congratulations on that, and best wishes on a speedy recovery. Now this weekend, we had Bellator MMA. They were overseas in Ireland, cageminds.com for your quick results there. AJ McKee and Baby Slice Kimbo Jr. both got victories. We had some UFC action, and I actually have highlights from that action to show you guys. Dustin Poirier in a transition, getting on top of Anthony Pettis. The transition actually caused a broken rib. Diego Sanchez against Matt Brown. Diego was doing good, got caught. had a kick caught, elbow the back of the head, and a big win. Rafael Asuncao, a huge right-hand knockout. Show it again, putting to sleep Matthew Lopez. Clay Guida, right hand, uppercut, ground and pound, finishing Joe Lozon. And those were the finishes from UFC Fight Night 120, cagedminds.com for your complete quick results from the event. Now, Saturday night, I spent the night with ProView Networks, where you'll be able to see coming up this weekend Legacy Boxing's Battle for the Brave. We got some highlights, though, to show you now to get you prepared for this weekend. Started off with the first fight. You had Jordan Garcia and Katie Ramirez. We knew coming in, Katie would have to use speed. She was the smaller fighter, but this fight turned into a brawl. They stayed in the pocket, stayed in each other's faces for most of the fight, and Jordan, the bigger, stronger fighter throwing the heavier leather, would take a unanimous decision once we went all 4 rounds and heard the judges' scorecards. This fight came together on just days' notice. Our guest from a couple weeks ago, Ronnie Baca, short notice, couple days, I believe 4 days, against 25-fight vet Anthony Hill. Baca worked his length advantage, and his jab early would start to fling big hooks as the contest continued. I thought going to the judges, they would see it 3 rounds to 1 in favor of Baca. One judge agreed with me. One judge went 4 rounds to none. And the other judge, making this a majority decision win, actually saw the fight 2 rounds to 2 rounds, a draw. This fight, improbability, the right hand knockdown for Christopher Russell, a guy that was only 3-20 heading in against undefeated prospect Matthew Papitas Escobar. Escobar touching the canvas there the first time. Russell coming aggressive, looking to get the stoppage. I thought that uppercut right there should have been counted as a second knockdown. It was not. That doesn't matter because that left hook, knockout of the year for the New Mexico boxing scene. A huge win for Escobar, remaining undefeated. And in what was one of the more entertaining back and forth battles of the night, Tavares Teague versus Christian Cabral, combination punching and the deeper gas tank of Cabral would be the key factors in him taking the decision win here. Forward pressure, not moving back. A good win for the Puma, who's now 2-0 in his return since a 1.5-year layoff. The main event, again, another fight came together on very short notice. Unfortunately, with Reese Olim getting cut in practice, we had Stefan McIntyre taking on Jason Sanchez. Sanchez, that impeccable body work, continuing to put together his punches, work in combinations, not single shots. He doesn't leave himself that vulnerable to the counter because he's too busy throwing offense and you can't leave yourself exposed. McIntyre, for just on days' notice, made it a hard fight. Earlier in the night, I think this one was a little earlier actually because that was our main event. You had Matthew Diamond Boy Griego remaining undefeated with a big win over Alejandro Moreno. Moreno, a 64-fight vet. This is only the 3rd time in his career that he's been stopped. He was not able to handle the speed, and that left hook from Griego was landing all night. And Brian Mendoza, I am on a campaign to change his nickname from La Bala to the Body Snatcher because those right hooks right there to the body caused the first knockdown. They're going to cause, I think, the second knockdown too. Oh, that left hook was pretty. Right there, the right to the body. John David Charles goes down one more time. And then 3 strikes and you're out is about to come. I was off. I thought the left hook was going to come. Oh, there was another right to the body. There it is. That was the liver shot. After it hits, it takes a second for your body to realize that it's shutting down. Brian Mendoza now 16-0, and I believe that's the 10th time he's done that. Put guys down with the body shots. You have still our undefeated prospects, Matthew Escobar, Jason Sanchez, Matthew Griego, Brian Mendoza. A lot of potential and a lot of bright futures in the local prospects we have here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Now, also talking about some prospects coming up, December 1st, you'll get to see a live event for MMA at Isleta Resort and Casino, Jackson Wink Fight Night 2. You have Damasio Page versus Jesus Urbina in the main event. Cody East is in action against fellow former King of the Cage heavyweight champion Tony Kryptonite Lopez, a 70-fight vet. Harvey Park, Jonathan Gary is on the card currently right now. Also, Wilfredo Santiago, another knockout artist, and Maurice the Hulk Jackson, both representing the Jackson Wink Academy. CageMinds.com. This week, we're going to start to get interviews out, talking to all the fighters involved, and we will have a guest here next week on Red Menace TV. December 1st, though, New Mexico prospects in action in other places. Andres the Bullet Quintana will be in San Antonio, Texas for Combates America, taking on Ray Trujillo. Coming up this weekend, I skipped over it. Actually, our guest from last week, don't forget, Ben Acosta is going to be in action along with Flavian Pilgrim, and amateur title fights for Cole Griego and Slade Ring, all representing the Jackson Wink Academy in Colorado Springs at the Colorado Springs Convention Center, Rubicon 6 this weekend, supporting Colton Heroes if you guys want to get out and see a local event. If not, you also could stay at home. There's still a lot of great action coming up, like Bellator. Bellator is in Israel, Bellator 188. You also have the UFC on Saturday from Australia, UFC Fight Night 121, a heavyweight main event. Former world champion Fabricio Verdum against the Jackson Wink, trained for this camp, Marcin Tybura, the big Polish Muay Thai striker. So nationally, locally, globally, still a lot of action coming up this weekend. A couple things I didn't touch on that are big news. Bellator MMA has announced in 2018 they will finally be crowning a heavyweight champion. We have an article up on that at CageMinds.com. Learn about the 2018 Heavyweight Grand Prix that will be going on. We don't have the article up, but talking about the WWE world, former WWE superstar Jack Swagger, real name Jack Hager, has signed to be a member of the Bellator heavyweight division, but not competing in that heavyweight tournament. Also, for Bellator news, Conor McGregor made an appearance this weekend. To hear all of my thoughts about it, tune into the Caged Minds Uncensored podcast, because believe me, my thoughts are uncensored. This week I was joined by Red Menace TV's own Mr. Michael Carlyle. And again, this weekend, this Saturday, ProView Networks will be re-airing Legacy Boxing's Battle for the Brave. And it's currently up on YouTube right now. Go watch it on a plethora of different ProView Networks platforms. A plethora. And there'll be more Red Menace TV in just a moment.
Is this my car?
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Shut up.
Shut up!
That's why State Farm is there, with car insurance for when things go wrong, but also here with car loans to help life go right. State Farm.
Talk to State Farm agent Marty Size or Michelle Rudolph in Albuquerque today.
Gecko's Bar and Tapas, a proud supporter of ProView Networks. It's been a fan favorite spot for food lovers and sports fans. With not one, but two great locations, including outdoor patio, an atmosphere you won't want to miss. Gecko's, off Academy and in Nob Hill.
Locally loved restaurants like Farina Pizzeria, Farina Alto, and the Artichoke Cafe are the perfect venue for your next event. Farina Alto has traditional Italian food, plus handcrafted cocktails in a beautiful Northeast Heights location. Farina Pizzeria with a downtown vibe, amazing affordable wines, and local beer. And the Artichoke Cafe has set the standard for casual fine dining since 1989. Visit our family of restaurants and see what fine dining is all about.
Ladera Golf Course. Opened in 1980, Ladera features a full 18 including spacious greens, a large driving range, roomy practice putting greens, and 4 large lakes. Surrounding Ladera, beautiful views of the Sandia Mountains to the east and volcanoes to the west. Ladera is a challenging city-owned course with the longest playing yardage of any other city courses. For weekend tee times and more information, call 505-836-4449.
For 55 years, people have bought trucks from Tillery in Los Lunas. We have a great selection of vehicles, the quality service department, and some of the best deals in the state. But most importantly, we found people prefer to buy trucks from people who actually drive trucks.
Tillery is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network. Locally owned and operated, located in Los Lunas, right off I-25, exit 203.
Turbo Threads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. Turbo Threads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for Turbo Threads.
Hey everyone, Adam Deal here with ProView Networks. Extreme Clean is a proud sponsor and supporter of ProView Networks and all high school sports athletics. Owner Mike McLean and Extreme Clean specialize in carpet cleaning for apartment, realty, business, and residential clients. With over 20 years experience, attention to detail and quality customer service matters. For more information, give them a call, 505-221-6440, Extreme Clean.
I can't believe you guys are talking still MMA stuff. You're really fired up about this stuff. Of course, you were on CageMinds.com, right, on the podcast?
Yes, I was on with Micah this week.
Well, how does that go? I mean, how does that work? How do you like being the interviewee as opposed to the interviewer?
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Mike did a good job with you?
Oh, yeah.
Did he take care of you?
Mike is awesome.
Made you feel good?
Sure.
Well, I listen to you guys all the time on 610. I know he comes on all the time, and I know you guys do a great job with that. So, and I know how passionate you are for the MMA game.
Plus, you know, I feel like when he's on with us on the radio, he has to hold back a little because there's certain words he can't say on the radio. Micah doesn't have those restrictions on his podcast.
Oh, right.
And he takes full advantage of that.
He takes full advantage. Yeah. Wow. Okay, nice. So you're saying this isn't necessarily a rated G podcast? It could be like PG-13?
It's definitely PG-13.
Okay, cool. No problem. Well, and that's a public service announcement for all the potential listeners. But that's CageMinds.com. Go and listen to real Mike Carlyle over there.
Yeah, but look, nobody wants to listen to a G-rated podcast unless it's something from Disney, right? You want a little edge, you want a little firiness.
A little bit of edge, and I like that he adds in the WWE angle this week too. So that's good.
Well, yeah, and I don't know how much you're paying attention to. Jack Swagger has signed with Bellator.
We the people, right?
One and the same.
That's right. Very nice. Hey, something where the passion has died down. I think, and it pains me because senior night is this Friday night, outgoing seniors, and it's been a rough year. Lobo football, they went out to, and you were there, College Station.
Oh yeah, I was there.
And just got horrified in that first half. I mean, they just ran into a meat grinder.
They ran into a middle of the pack SEC team, and honestly, middle of the pack SEC is head and shoulders above probably the upper echelon of the Mountain West, never mind a team that has a lot of injuries and is struggling to move the ball offensively and really got picked apart on the defensive side of the ball. Of course, there are injuries over there as well. They've got some problems there with the safeties and stuff. And, yeah, A&M just ate them alive in the first half.
Well, and I mean, at this time of year, pretty much everyone has some, if not multiple injuries going on. So I know Richard McCorley's out for this upcoming game against UNLV due to injury, which is just another one. Just tick them off. I mean,
Honestly, and not a knock to Big Rick, that's probably the least of their problems, just because that's a position they have depth at.
Right.
But yeah, again, you talk about the offensive line stuff, which has really hampered the Lobos' ability to run the ball. I mean, that's where your big injuries are. That's really affecting this team. You're right. Look, every team is banged up this time of year.
Sure.
When you're a team like UNM and depth is an issue, you can't afford those types of injuries. And when you get them, well, you get exposed in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, like an SEC team, like you mentioned, if they lose a player or two, they just plug in a pretty good, decent player.
Probably a player that's almost as good as the one he's replacing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
UNM kind of replaces a player. There's a drop-off.
Sure.
I mean, and that's just being a mid-major or whatever. Do they call them mid-majors in football? Not really.
Yeah. But look, here's the thing, and I said this on the radio earlier this week. If you're a Lobo fan, I don't think you should be that upset about the loss at A&M. You had to know that was coming. Sure, you would have liked to have seen it play a little better, maybe make it a tad bit interesting. The losses that need to concern you are the Fresno State loss, the Wyoming loss,
the New Mexico State loss,
the CSU loss, because those are teams you should be at least even with, if not above, and competing with. And they came back and made a game of the Aggie game, but you look at Fresno, you look at Wyoming. You did nothing in those games. That would be a whole lot more concerning to me, and I'm sure it is to the coaches as well, as opposed to getting blown out at A&M. Because honestly, and I told you this earlier, if the Lobos had gone into that game on a 4-game winning streak instead of a 4-game losing streak,
they're still going to get
the result of that game is still the same.
Yeah, I mean, they're heads and tails right now above. That's just the way it is. You mentioned it. You said even an upper echelon Mountain West Conference team is going to struggle there at College Station. What's the atmosphere like for those that have never been part of real college football?
Yeah, my second time there, it's awesome. Phenomenal facilities. The fans are just crazy. It's great.
So let me ask you this, because right now, obviously, the Lobos are having a tough year on the field.
Sure.
Attendance is terrible. But really,
attendance is actually up from last year.
I was going to just say, but it's not even as bad as, no matter what, it's still not as bad as maybe even last year when they were winning. How is it that a middle-of-the-road SEC team fills that place up where New Mexico, even when they're winning and competing for a conference?
Okay. There's a lot of tradition there.
Sure.
And I mean a lot of tradition. So that goes along. They're not always a middle-of-the-pack SEC team.
Right.
Which is why Kevin Sumlin's on the hot seat there, even though he's won 3 straight bowl games, became bowl eligible again with the win over the Lobos, and probably why he's going to be looking for another job next year, because there are much higher expectations there. There's a lot more money being funneled into that program, and so therefore expectations are higher. So when you've got 6 wins and maybe finish with 8, that's looked upon as a down year, because they do have those expectations.
Well, I mean, we talk about McElwain that was let go
at Florida. Yeah.
He wasn't let go really because of the false death threats. He was let go because they were winning.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what it's all about. I remember Rocky Long years ago, before he left New Mexico, we talked about this, and he had let me know that there was other, they were BCS teams at that time, that had made offers, had talked to him.
Oh, yeah.
And he said the reason that he chose not to do that is because he goes, if I go 8-4 at New Mexico, well, that's a great year, and there's not a lot of pressure.
They're talking about building a statue in your honor.
Right.
If you go 8-4 consistently at Florida or schools like that, they're running you out of town.
Yeah, you're out of town.
Yeah.
You're done. I mean, and there's no we're going to give you of course, Albuquerque, I'm saying that, but I mean, there's no leeway or anything else. You're done. I mean, that's it. They don't want you. You have to win it. It's almost like a national title or bust for some of these squads.
At least being in the conversation.
Yeah, and then it's just, how tough is that? I mean, so even in the P5 conferences, there's still a higher and lower echelon in those as well. And I mean, it's got to be tough for those that are in the lower to mid echelon, because you're not going to be there every year.
Right.
Mike, I do want to talk to you a little bit, Michael, about the status of the program. Obviously, fans are fans. And I don't know if you're getting this on the air as much as I see it on social media. Obviously, anytime there's a loss, they want to fire a coach. Everyone's always quick to fire. I don't see that there's a reason that you would even contemplate firing Bob Davie at this point.
Anybody who wants to fire Bob Davie for this season needs to take a couple of moments and reflect back, not that long ago, 1-11, 1-11, 1-11. Remember what this program was like, where it was at when Bob Davie came here, and think what Bob Davie's done to turn around this program. Has this season gone the way anybody wanted it to? Not even close. But Bob Davie has rebuilt this program. I believe he's earned the right to have a down year.
I think arguably this is his worst year because, you know, obviously those years were bad when he first took over. But you expected that. But, you know, this is a bad year. But I'm going to go back even further. When Mr. Roderick Long was our coach, they won a New Mexico Bowl game here. And the next year was fraught with injury. I think there was like 30 or 40 guys that ended up with surgery at the end of that season. They had a bad year. They had problems at quarterback position where they were alternating quarterbacks. They couldn't throw. They were trying to run. The defense that had been predominantly pretty good while Rocky was here was having a rough year. And then Rocky decided just to hang him up. And you remember the press conference because people talk about the damn fans and what happened during that press conference. It's so wild remembering that from just a few years back and now seeing exactly what's going on now. And I would just tell Lobo fans, just learn a little bit. Just think about it. You know, everyone was so quick to run Rocky off because we didn't throw the ball enough, we run too much, fire Dan Dodd, we know the plays, blah, 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 all this crap.
Yeah. And
it's like, here we are, once again, it's like deja vu all over again. And I just think people need to just kind of chill out a little bit. You know, now Bob Davie chooses to pull himself out. I could understand that, but if he chooses to stay and continue with this program, that's fine if he does, that's great. I think Lobo fans should just relax a little bit and give the guy the opportunity to once again get Tuatoi built up, get some of these young guys, allow some of these guys that are injured to come back and heal. Once again, a recruiting class, another recruiting class, build it up, and let's see where we go from there.
I agree 100%.
All right. Speaking of agreeing 100%, because I know you're not going to agree. Let's go to Rusty the
Whoa,
Sports.
whoa. There's no agreement here.
That's what I was going to say. I caught myself. We're going to go to award-winning Rusty the Sports. He's never won an award. There's only one guy that's won an award around here, and that's you. That's right, this guy. So we're going to go to, I'll give him an award. I don't know, most annoying clown.
Best clown on a ProView Network sports talk show that talks mainly about Lobos? What award are you giving it?
That's a heck of an award. Rusty the Sports Clown right here on Red Menace TV.
Diana here, and with me as always is Rusty, but we also have Sonia and Brian who work at the Roadrunner Food Bank. And all of us feel as though that hunger is no laughing matter. And the Roadrunner Food Bank is just one of many ways to help out the tens of thousands of hungry people from around our great state.
That's right. It falls on each and every one of us to make sure that the entire community has what it needs to sustain a healthy way.
Yeah, and if you want to do your part in helping make a positive impact, you can contact the Roadrunner Food Bank and just add your time to help out.
Exactly. You can donate your time, resources, money, or whatever you can. Okay, here's the deal. As far as getting out there and supporting your community, what do I always say?
Just go!
Hey everybody, guess what? It's me, Rusty the Sports Clown, for the Rusty the Sports Clown Show. Now, most of you know that we don't have any sponsors yet, and my crew's getting pretty hungry. So, we're at the Roadrunner Food Bank. I know. Okay. I was going to try and, see if we can't hook them up and remedy the hunger situation, but just kidding, y'all. But in all seriousness, the jobs that some people have just don't cut it. Or maybe there's no job at all. And this place serves a very real need for many. So, in our In the Know segment, here at the Roadrunner Food Bank, we're going to find out what goes on. But first, we need to get caught up on all things sports-wise that this clown has a take on. I know. So where do we begin? We got to look at the clock. Oh my gosh. Sports break, look at that. We're going to start with high school football. Those little guys, who are bigger than me, because high school kids are huge nowadays. All right, where do we begin? Okay, you're not going to believe this. This is probably the first time this has ever happened in real life. I was perfect in my picks for the first round of the playoffs. Yay, me! All right, Clovis. I said they were going to beat Atrisco Heritage, and guess what? They did. Now they get to travel back to Albuquerque again to play #1 ranked Manzano. El Dorado, they beat up on West Mesa. Now they get a rematch with La Cueva. How about this for horribleness? Hobbs, they trampled Piedra Vista. Okay, now Piedra Vista, they had to travel from Farmington all the way to Hobbs, which are like on opposite corners of the state. 10-hour drive each way. So now you just got crushed in a football game. Now what do you got to do? Sit on a bus for 10 hours to go back home. Yeah, not fun. All right, Hobbs, now with their win, they get to travel 7 hours to Rio Rancho for a game against Cleveland. All right, listen to this one. Centennial, they drove from Las Cruces to play Rio Rancho High, but they lost. So now Rio Rancho High, who won, they get to travel from Rio Rancho down to Las Cruces to play Las Cruces. Yeah, got that one? yeah, it's tough for me to figure out too. All right, we're going to prognosticate all of those games later, all right? Now, on to NCAA football. That's the college guys who are even much bigger than the high school guys. All right, where we had a whole bunch of crazy blowouts. Get this, #1 ranked Georgia, the best team in the country. They're supposed to be better than Alabama this year. Guess what happened to them? They got crushed, 40-17 by Auburn. I know. Check this one out. Michigan State, who's quietly been beating everyone, what happened to them? They got crushed by Ohio State, 48-3. Remember Ohio State last week? What happened to them? They got crushed by Iowa. So Iowa's good, right? Wrong. Guess what happened to them? They got crushed by Wisconsin, 38-14. Sensing a pattern here? How about Notre Dame? Guess what happened to them? I'm going to tell you. They got crushed by Miami. Yeah, for some reason I like saying that. Score was 41-8. Now you're probably asking, that's all very interesting, Rusty, but how did the Lobos do? I know, everybody wants to know that. All right, this was really cool. They outscored Texas A&M 14-7 over the last 31 minutes and 24 seconds of the game. Yay! Unfortunately, they were outscored 48-0 in the first 28 minutes and 36 seconds. So what does that mean? They got crushed. Okay, the Lobos did a great job stuffing the run, but a lousy job against the pass, where, as usual, they had no pass rush, and the A&M quarterback had all day to throw the ball. Well, he did just that. He threw for 416 yards and 4 touchdowns in the first half. Yeah. Okay, the good news, we got paid $1.1 million for our futility on national television. Yay. All right, for some more Lobo news. Okay, men's basketball. Okay, this is the team that has been completely overhauled by brand new coach, Coach Ware. Okay, he wanted to install a super fast-paced offense with a smothering defense. And you know, he wanted to show what we could be this season, and they were going to have fun. Our opening game, get this. Everybody starts their season with, you know, some little nobody, a little school, and we opened our season with another little nobody, Northern New Mexico. Okay, they're an NAIA team, but, you know, it doesn't matter. They're still a basketball team, still supposed to be okay. All right, here's the thing, though. UNM put up 146 points. That's a school record and a pit record and, you know, all kinds of records. Man, that still raised a lot of eyebrows. This is going to be a fun team to watch. Hey, Red Menace peeps, here's the deal. Okay, you did not see the rest of my episode. No, because, you know, you're stuck on Red Menace where they only show you like just a little bit of my show because they're dopey. Yeah, I don't know why. All right, here's what you got to do if you want to see the rest of it. Follow me on Facebook because I show you everything on Facebook, right? Everything. We're here at the Roadrunner Food Bank. You're going to find out a whole bunch of stuff about what goes on here. You're going to find out what else I said about the NFL and other stuff that, you know, Leroy and Michael didn't tell you. So follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, follow me to a Lobos game because I'm much more famous than Leroy and Michael. So what do we say? Just go! Bye.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at ProView Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Hey, welcome back to Red Menace TV, final segment of today's show.
So, Rusty.
Yeah.
With his clown mouth, biting the hand that feeds him.
Yeah, I mean, we found him, right?
Yes.
I mean, we found him. We discovered Rusty.
A clown college dropout.
In the clown unemployment line.
Right, with nothing going for him. Using secondhand makeup, a ratty wig. We clean him up. We get him some fresh makeup. And this is how he repays us?
This is how he repays us. I think I'm starting to get on Team Carlyle on this situation now.
I told you at the time, I'll say it again, nothing good comes from hanging out with the clown. Nothing.
I'm beginning to believe you. I feel wounded. Absolutely wounded.
Well, welcome to my world.
And you got clowns all over the place. You got them at the radio station. You got them at the TV station now. There's clowns. They're coming after you.
Hate them all.
There's clowns.
Hate them all.
I mean, do you look at that movie It that came out and say, ooh, I don't know? Of course, these clowns aren't as cool as It, right?
No. No, they're not. And, you know, they're probably not nearly as vicious either.
Okay, cool, very cool. Hey, one thing I wanted to talk about as we're kind of wrapping things up, something that I thought about this weekend, and I like NFL football, and I'm not going to talk about the Cowboys because they didn't really play NFL football this past week, though I do think they're going to beat the Eagles. I'm telling you right now, I think they beat the Eagles.
Okay.
All right? But all these...
You've been talking to Rusty? Or?
Yeah, no. All these years, obviously the NFL has kept out all these post-touchdown celebrations and that sort of thing. And it was kind of a
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Do you think they're like over the top? I put this out on Twitter and a couple people.
Yes.
I mean, it's like fake, like totally fake now.
Well, of course. Yes, they're over the top. And they're wonderful because they're over the top.
Really? You think so?
Absolutely.
Okay, I find them annoying. I don't find them... Now, there was a couple, I can't remember who it was. I think it was a Cowboy game. One of the players caught a touchdown, and he spun the ball, and he was kind of shimmering. To me, that was like natural. That was just, you had that feeling, you scored a touchdown, you know, and the camera's on. And I don't know if you knew that. It was a celebration. I enjoyed that. But like the leapfrogging and the I don't know, all these other things, they're just so choreographed, it's boring to me. It's not funny. I don't find it.
See, that's, again, that gets back to what we say. The show's coming full circle.
Back to hate?
Right. We talked at the beginning. Obviously, we're going to talk at the end about the hate that fills your heart. If you weren't such a doggone hater over everything and learn to enjoy things,
right,
your life would be a lot better.
Well, I mean, I enjoy things. I mean, I love watching little WWE, and I mean, that's all choreographed.
Right.
Not the wrestling. The wrestling's real.
But God forbid.
But
there's a choreographed NFL celebration after a touchdown.
I like the spontaneous exuberance.
Probably
that celebration.
Probably use WWE as your example.
Why not?
If you were going anti-choreographed.
No. But what I'm saying is, I understand that's what the WWE is about. Okay. But I'm talking about. Well, I liked it like on UFC where the fighters would jump up on the top of the cage and do their things. That stuff is cool. But like I said, I like the spontaneous celebrations. Those are really cool too. But the choreographed stuff, I just think is a little over the top. It's kind of like, man, boring to me. It's just not as cool as if a player just spontaneously just. I mean, I used to love when Gronk would take and just spike the ball.
So if players spontaneously leapfrogged each other after a touchdown, then it would be okay.
Yeah, I don't know. How spontaneous is that? In fact, maybe we should practice after the show. I'll leapfrog you. Of course, I'm old, and I may not.
Why don't I leapfrog you?
I don't know, man. I don't know if we can do that. Hey, I want to thank Kyle for coming in, and don't forget to go to the Howl and check that out. For Jay Pohl, Michael Carlyle, and Mika Frankl, this is Roy Lucero. We'll see you next week. God bless you all.